Hey ladies, it's Victoria. Thanks so much for coming back to my channel, and thank you guys for your overwhelming support with all of my videos and the fact that so many of you found the humor in my last video where I showed you what not to do with injections. It was just one of those nights, but I think we've all been there and done that, and I just wanted to share it with you guys because it was really funny to me. So thank you for all of your sweet comments. I'm going to try to get back to everybody tonight. Things have just been crazy, but that's no excuse, and I love talking to you guys. So I'm going to try to respond to all of the comments tonight, so be on the lookout for that. Tonight is Wednesday. Today is day 5. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, today is day 5 of my stims. That's just crazy. I thought that while I'm doing my injections tonight, I could just kind of talk to you guys about how I'm feeling and how we're doing, just kind of going into this whole process. So, as you guys know, this is our second stim cycle. We did one in January as well that yielded 1 blastocyst that we have frozen. Waiting to hopefully get more this cycle so that we can do PGD. So, as far as how I'm feeling this time, I'm already feeling the major bloat. And it's really obvious. If you guys follow me on Instagram, then you may have seen the picture that I put up earlier today where I was making this like annoyed face. I had someone ask me today when I was due. Seriously, public service announcement, just in case you don't realize, you never, ever, ever ask someone when they're due. Even if they look 9 months pregnant and ready to pop tomorrow, you don't ask that question because you don't know what they've been through. You don't know if, they had a stillbirth or a miscarriage and are still carrying, the weight and everything from being pregnant. You don't know what's going on, so you don't ask that question. But it kind of caught me off guard, but I don't usually have witty comebacks, but I guess for some reason I just kind of was on my game today, and I said, well, probably about 9 months after the Petri dish says so. And I turned around and walked away, and I was like, that was kind of snarky, but it was just so annoying. You don't ask that question. I'm not a small person to begin with. I have gained a lot of weight during this process. I'm not going to lie. I can't hide it. It's obvious, and especially going through these stim cycles, I've gained weight. And, I'm trying to eat really well and be so conscious of everything that goes in my mouth. But it's just the nature of the beast with IVF drugs. If you guys have done IVF, I'm sure you can sympathize. And if you guys have any tips, I'm completely open to that because it is very frustrating. But the hormones by nature make you bloated, they make you constipated, and I get a 6-month pregnant baby belly. And this time I am reacting even faster than I did last time. And I don't know if maybe that's because I still have hormones in my system since we just did a stim cycle last cycle. I don't know if maybe that's it, or my body just kind of was like, oh, so that's what we do, and it's in the groove, so it's just reacting faster. I don't know. But, my stomach is swollen. But still, it was like, okay. Anyway, so that happened today. As far as symptoms go, though, besides the bloat, I am TMI. I am constipated like crazy. I'm getting medication tonight, so hopefully that will help. I shouldn't say medication. I'm just getting natural fiber and stuff to try to help with that process. They said I could take Colace and stuff, but I really don't want to add another medication if I don't have to. So I'm going to just try to get something like Metamucil or something to kind of help, just something I can put in my drink to kind of help. I am also, which you can probably already see it, I'll pick this up, on my neck. I get the worst cystic acne every so often, and it is really obnoxious this time, and whenever it's on my neck, it is the most painful, and it only gets worse if you mess with it. They just continue to blow up even bigger, and it hurts, and you can't put anything on it or it inflames them even more, so I can't even really cover it up. My face is having some minor breakout issues, but it's not too bad. It's really my neck. Ugh, that drives me crazy. But again, we'll take it. I haven't had headaches, knock on wood, like I did last time. I've had some minor, like, I might be getting a headache, but then I really don't. So that's good news. I hate headaches. I will take anything else. I've noticed that my appetite is diminished. Like last night, I didn't even eat dinner. I wasn't hungry. I'm really having a hard time because I have to take the doxycycline twice a day, trying to eat and eat enough to take the medication because it really messes with my stomach. My appetite is really down, but you know, I do what I can and I eat as I can, and I try to keep myself, you know, when I am eating, I try to make it good things and make it worth my while. So, other than that, emotionally, as far as the symptoms, my husband said to me the other night, he's like, "You're doing so well with this again." He's like, "You're not crazy." I was like, "Well, thank you." And I was like, "Actually, I am crazy. I mean, I feel it. And in my head, when certain things happen, my instant response in my head is crazy. You know, I want to say or do certain things and just snap. But so far, I'm making no promises, but so far I've been in control of that completely. I stop and I think before I open my mouth. So it's good. So I'm able to control the crazy, at least for now, which is good for everyone around me. I'm still, you know, in a pretty good mood most of the time, which is good. I am more sensitive to things. I said to my husband, I said, I almost feel like I'm more of a girl with all these hormones than I used to be. Not that I didn't feel like I wasn't a girl before, but I was very like stoic about things and very rational. And now I have all of these emotions all the time. So I guess that's the hormones. Which is kind of interesting. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, somebody asked me what my cycle was like this time after having a stim cycle. And actually, it was so different. And if it could be like this every time, I would be okay. With my PCOS and my other issues, I have an incredibly heavy cycle. Now, I know a lot of people say that, but I'm serious. And this is TMI, so if you don't want to hear this, skip ahead. But I can go through an Ultra tampon in about 25 minutes. Heavy, no joke. And it's never really painful per se, but it's very, very, very heavy and obnoxious. It's really, really bad for about 3 days, and then the 4th day things kind of taper off, and then the 5th day is a little heavier again, and then by the 6th day I'm pretty much down to nothing. That's usually how it goes. But this time I got really crampy the first night, which stunk. That was not fun. I never get cramps, so I was not enjoying that. But then, you know, my cycle was still heavy-ish, but it wasn't bad at all. When I'm going through IVF, I don't use tampons, so I couldn't compare as far as how quickly things happened, but it was definitely much, much later than it otherwise would have been. It was also much shorter. It started Thursday and was completely over by Sunday, which was beautiful. Well, Monday I was still spotting a little bit, but it was pretty much over by Sunday, which was incredible. So I really, really enjoyed that. I know some people have the opposite effect and have much heavier cycles, but thankfully I am not among them. So it is now 6 o'clock, so I'm going to take a break real quick and just do these injections. I won't go through the whole thing with you guys because you know what I'm doing. I've showed you a few times now, although it's been rather hilarious when I've shown you because I've done it. There's been a mishap every time I've shown you guys what I'm doing, so you probably all think that I'm just completely incapable, not capable of doing this, but I swear I am. All right, so this is a cartridge that I have left, that has medicine left in it. I only took 25 units out of it last night, and it's a 300 cartridge. So I'm expecting that there's 350 units in here, but I'm going to take it up to 400 just to be sure. Look it a little bit. All right, so yeah, just to be sure. And the pen will tell me how much was in there, so I'm going to take it up to 400. And I'm going to throw my phone on the floor because what would, and it's upside down, what would a stim night be without throwing things on the floor, you guys? Just, that's the way we got to do this here on the ToriBaby channel. All right, here we go. Left side tonight. And see, you guys can probably see the difference in my stomach. I am so bloated. Okay, here we go. And all of it. Nuh-uh. I guess it's a good thing I didn't take it up to 400 and I only did 375 because I think there's still some left in here. Oh my goodness. There's still a tiny bit left in there. I am so glad I didn't go up to 400. That would have been really bad. Just for fun, just to test this, I'm going to put this needle back on here because we know there's next to nothing in there. So I'm going to take this up. Okay, so it did stop. So it's not like it's saying that there's more. I guess my concern was that it was going to say, you know, it was going to keep pushing and then, you know, my measurement wasn't going to be right. So, okay. There's a lot. I see, this is the part that confuses me. There's no way to be sure how much is really in there, and it's so much more than you would even realize. Like they say that there should be 75 extra units in a 300. Well, I took 25 out of there last night. So if there's 375 supposedly in a 300 and I took 25 out last night, then there should have been 350 units. Well, I just got 375 units out of there. So it's more like 100 extra units. I don't know. But that's good. Only one injection tonight. That's always nice. We'll take it. My poor belly needs a rest. But as you guys could probably see, and I'm just winding this back out. As you guys could probably see, my belly is pretty swollen. So that's probably why they asked. But it's still not nice to ask these questions. I'm going to take you guys with me while I throw stuff away. And excuse all the stuff in the background. We have so much left over from our Super Bowl party. It's kind of obnoxious. So anyway, as far as my other symptoms go, that's pretty much it. Now, someone asked me how Jason and I are doing as a couple with this whole thing. And I want to be extremely honest, like I always try to be with you guys. It's been really, really rough. As you guys know, if you have watched my previous videos, Jason and I deal with things very, very differently. He's much more compartmentalized and able to take this in this block and then this in this block, and he doesn't combine them together, whereas I see everything in one whole big mass. So it's very, very difficult for me most of the time, and it's much easier for him, which creates some conflict with us because I want him, and I'm walking this back to the fridge, my other cartridge that I had out. I want him to be more, not necessarily emotional, but I want him to be, you know, able to express himself and to express his thoughts and feelings and to have thoughts and feelings on this and not just be like, whatever, you know. And so it's hard for me sometimes to accept the fact that he's just like, but then I also have to realize he's not the one stabbing himself every night. He's not the one going to the doctor and getting an internal ultrasound every couple of days. He's not the one getting blood work every couple of days. He's not the one who has a fertility issue. It's me. So it's harder for him to appreciate where I'm coming from, and it's harder for me to appreciate where he's coming from. And that definitely creates some conflict. We've had several, not fights, well, they kind of started as arguments, but they turned into more like good conversation and kind of problem-solving sessions versus fighting. But we've had a few instances recently where it's been hard for us. It's been hard to communicate because he's afraid, since he doesn't feel as strongly as I do and he's not as scared as I am, that him saying those things is going to upset me. And then I'm afraid to express how scared I really am and how afraid I am to have hope to him, because it just upsets him because he doesn't understand how I feel. So, you know, we've been trying to have ongoing dialogue about things, but there's been a few times that, you know, we have definitely had some issues. And I think that's important for people to know. This isn't all, well, this process isn't fun and games in any way, shape, or form. But, you know, even though the infertility struggle can really strengthen your bond with your partner and spouse, it can also cause a lot of problems. And you really have to nip things in the bud and stay on top of it and not be afraid to express yourself and to really sit down and have some deep conversations, because it can really eat at you. And I was finding that I was honestly having some resentment issues because he would, you know, every time I go to the clinic, everybody's got their partner with them, and I would be the only one by myself. And, you know, the first few times it didn't bother me so much because he has to work, and I mean, he doesn't have to work when I'm there. He has to work later, but he'd have to drive the 45 minutes out to the clinic, and we couldn't even take the same vehicle because then I go on to the city and he comes back closer to where we live. So it'd be 2 vehicles, and he'd have to drive out, and then he'd have to drive back, and he'd have to get up, 2.5 hours earlier than he's used to getting up. And sometimes he works longer days. He works 12-hour days sometimes. And so I was coming up with all these reasons, and at first I was okay with it, but it eventually started eating at me. And I guess I didn't even realize it, that everyone else had someone and I was alone at these appointments. And I kind of resented him for it. And we really had to have a conversation about it. And I think the part that I resented most is that he would then, even though he knew I was at an appointment, he would just continue to sleep and, get up. And I'd already be at work by the time he'd get up because I start a lot earlier than he does. And by then, I really can't talk about it. So when I would try to call him after my appointments, he'd still be asleep. And it would upset me because you can't even come to my appointment, and then you can't even pick up your phone to talk to me about how it went. You can't even make sure that your volume's on or that your phone's with you so that I can talk to you, and part of it was a little bit my fault for not expressing what I needed to him. And part of it was he just wasn't thinking how that would affect me. So, we really had to have a conversation about it, that if he is not going to my appointments, and the rational me doesn't blame him because, like I said, it's a huge schedule change. It's a huge addition to his day. It's 2 vehicles running to an appointment. It's 2 vehicles having to pay for parking because you have to pay there, and it's like $5 every time I go. So, $10 a trip, it adds up, especially when you're doing IVF. So, but he needs to be available for me to talk to afterwards. That's just the conclusion that I came to. I really need him to be more present in this whole thing. So I guess the lesson in all of this for me, and hopefully this helps somebody else, is to not be afraid to have the conversation and to tell your partner or spouse what you need, because a lot of times they're, because it's not necessarily happening to them, all of the, testing and appointments and the injections, it's not happening to them, it's happening to you. So they can't understand how you feel, and they don't necessarily know how best to help you. So you really have to be vocal about what you need. So I just thought I would share that with you guys. Hopefully it will help someone. But I think that's really it for tonight. It's already been over 20 minutes, so I apologize. I was going to do this quick video. It never works that way. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight to you guys. My next appointment is Friday. My protocol has stayed the same. This is the part that has changed from my last protocol. I did the FSH only for 3 days and then added the Menopur on the 4th day. This time I'm doing my FSH for 6 days only, going to an appointment. So we'll probably add Menopur and Ganirelix on Friday, maybe. So this is the part of my protocol that's differing from last time. So it makes me happy that there's a change. But that's it for tonight, guys, and thank you guys again for your support. Make sure you follow me on Instagram if you haven't already, because I update there daily, and it's easier and quicker to interact with people sometimes there. So, I get to talk to a lot more people there. So let me know how you guys are doing. Make sure you let me know what your Instagram is so that I can follow you guys, because I love cheering people on in their journey and just being a support system if I can. We all have to stick together in this. So love you guys, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye. And here's the other symptom. My brain's not working. I just realized that I didn't tell you guys about my first follow-up appointment yesterday. I am a terrible person, guys. I think that is another symptom. I'm having a hard time remembering things. And it's probably not the hormones, but I want to blame it on the hormones, so I'm going to. So I had my first follow-up after my baseline. Yesterday I'd done 3 nights of stims before my, 3 nights of stims before my follow-up. And I wasn't too sure how I felt about this. I didn't feel a whole lot going on, so I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And if you remember, my lining the first time was only 3.2. This time it was over 7. So it had more than doubled, which was so exciting to me. It was like 7.8, which was fantastic. I mean, again, we don't need my lining to be thick this time around. We're doing a frozen transfer. So if we do get enough embryos to do PGD this time, we won't be doing a transfer until March at some point. But still, it's good to know that I respond. And my baseline, I had 6 follicles on each side plus some cysts on my left side from last time that we're still resolving. This time, I have 15 follicles on my right side, and on my left, I have at least 8 with a few cysts still resolving, so there may be a few more that she just really can't see. So I'm super excited that there are 23 follicles right now, and they all look good. She said everything looks perfect, and my blood work came back good. They don't tell me my numbers, but I'm going to ask on Friday to be able to see them, so I will share those with you guys. But that's it. I promise that's it. I just wanted to share my appointment update with you as well. So I promise this is it now, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.